Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Podcast, where we help you improve your English one conversation at a time. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. Whether you're just starting out or looking to sharpen your skills, this podcast is for anyone who wants to learn English in a fun and easy way. Each episode will explore new vocabulary, useful phrases, and practice speaking together. So grab your headphones, relax, and let's dive into today's lesson.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into your notes on manifestation and the law of attraction. Specifically, this conversation between Raj Shamani and experts Mitesh Khatri and Indu Agarwal. You've been really interested in how much power we actually have over our own lives. And this conversation seems to get right to the heart of that.
It does. One of the first things that jumped out at me was how they reframe the way we think about our emotions. They argue that our emotions aren't just fleeting feelings, but deeply ingrained habits.
Habits. That's an interesting way to think about emotions. What do they mean by that?
They compare it to other habits, even addictions like alcoholism. For example, they talk about how someone who's always looking for a reason to be sad will find one, just like someone looking for a drink will find any excuse. It's not really about the external situation, but the internal pattern.
So it's less about what happens to us and more about how we react to it.
Exactly. And this is where their concept of don't solve, evolve comes in. Instead of constantly trying to fix our problems, they suggest we should focus on evolving beyond them by changing those internal patterns.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? They gave that example of the doctor who was on the verge of suicide but then turned her life around. What was the key for her?
Well, she initially believed her despair stemmed from her marriage and finances. But with Mitesh and Indu's guidance, she realized she had actually been carrying these feelings of sadness and helplessness since childhood.
Wow, that's a powerful realization, recognizing that we might be carrying these emotional patterns for years without even realizing it. But if these patterns are so ingrained, how do we even begin to change them?
Mitesh and Indu argue that while we may not have consciously chosen these patterns, we have the power to choose differently now. It starts with awareness, then making a conscious effort to shift those ingrained patterns and beliefs.
So if someone constantly finds themselves in unhealthy relationships, for instance, they can learn to attract healthy ones.
That's the idea. But it's not as simple as wishing for a different reality. Mitesh and Indu say it's about aligning our feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the frequency of our goals. They call this aligning our FTBA, feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the outcome we want.
FTBA, got it. So it's not enough to just daydream about a better job. You have to embody the feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and actions of someone who is already thriving in their career.
Exactly. They gave a great example of this with a woman in their Platinum membership program. She was a successful consultant making great money, but she couldn't find a partner. She'd keep attracting and ending up in bad relationships.
It sounds like her actions weren't quite aligned with her desire for a healthy relationship.
Exactly. Mitesh and Indu told her to focus on upgrading herself, not finding a partner immediately. 6 months later, she ended up getting married.
Wow, that's quite a turnaround. But it makes sense if you think about it. If you believe you can achieve something and actually act accordingly, you're much more likely to see those results in your life.
That's what they're getting at. They use the analogy of a radio. You tune your dial to a specific frequency to listen to a particular station. Manifestation is similar, aligning your FTBA to the frequency of your goals.
So someone who constantly complains about never having enough money, yet refuses to tip at restaurants because they are saving, their actions aren't really aligned with attracting wealth, right?
Precisely. They talk about going through life with a poverty mindset versus a millionaire mindset.
Yeah.
A millionaire sees a financial setback as temporary, while someone with a poverty mindset might see it as confirmation that they'll never be wealthy. It all comes back to those ingrained beliefs and habits we were talking about earlier.
It's like our beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies in a way. If you believe something is possible, you're more likely to take the actions that make it happen. And on the flip side, if you believe you're limited, those limitations become your reality. But how do we actually shift those deep-seated beliefs? It feels like more than just positive thinking.
Right? It's about rewiring those ingrained patterns. And Mitesh and Indu have a specific system for that called the Daily Magic Practice, or DMP.
They touched on this briefly. Tell me more about this daily magic practice. What exactly is it?
It's a daily group practice they lead on Zoom with hundreds of participants. It combines music, movement, and affirmations to help people shift their emotional state and reinforce those positive beliefs we've been talking about.
Music, movement, and affirmations. It sounds almost like a workout for your mind. What kind of music do they use?
They use specific tracks designed to evoke certain emotions and energy. I think they even have a playlist on their website.
That's cool. I'll have to check it out. And what about the movement aspect? Is it like dancing?
It can be. They incorporate different types of movement. Sometimes it's more meditative. Other times it's about physically shaking off negativity or embodying confidence and power.
Interesting. So it's about getting your mind and body in sync with those desired feelings. And then there are the affirmations. How do those work within the DMP framework?
The affirmations are carefully crafted statements designed to challenge limiting beliefs and reprogram the subconscious mind with positive ones. Repeating those affirmations, especially while your emotional state is heightened through the music and movement, can be really powerful.
It sounds like a really holistic approach, addressing the mental, emotional, and even physical aspects of transformation.
Exactly. And it ties back to their don't solve, evolve philosophy. Instead of just trying to fix external problems, the DMP provides tools to shift your internal state, which can then lead to positive changes in all areas of your life.
This reminds me of something else they talked about, the 4 strings of a fulfilling life. Can you refresh my memory on that one?
They compare it to a guitar. Money, career, health, and relationships are like the 4 strings. If even one string is out of tune, the whole instrument suffers. They emphasize that we need to define what matters most to us in each area and strive for balance.
So it's about holistic success, not just focusing on one area and neglecting the others. This example of the 65-year-old man who joined their program to improve his health really highlights that. To go from barely doing 5 push-ups to 100 push-ups and 100 squats in 9 months is incredible.
It is. And for him, it all started with the desire to feel better physically. But it sounds like the changes extended to other areas of his life as well.
That makes sense. If you're feeling healthy and energized, it's bound to have a positive ripple effect on your work, your relationships, everything. But they also make this bold claim that you can achieve a decade's worth of success in just 1 year. How is that even possible?
Well, they believe success isn't directly proportional to time. It's about accelerating your growth by adopting the beliefs and strategies of those who have already achieved what you desire.
So it's not about reinventing the wheel, but learning from those who've already figured out how to make it spin faster.
Precisely. They point to examples like Elon Musk, who achieved in a few short years what took other companies decades. He challenged conventional wisdom and believed in achieving what others thought was impossible.
That's incredibly inspiring, but it also begs the question, what about external factors we can't control? What if someone's doing everything right, aligning their FTBA, taking action, and then a global recession hits, or they experience a personal tragedy? How do you reconcile that with the law of attraction?
That's a great question. It is something Mitesh and Indu address head-on. They acknowledge that while we have a lot of influence over our lives, there are always external factors at play.
So how do they explain the situations where it seems like external circumstances completely derail everything?
They estimate that about 20% of life is predetermined. Things like our genetics, the family we're born into, and certain life events that are beyond our control.
So that 20% is like the cards we're dealt, but we get to choose how we play the remaining 80%.
Exactly. It's not about denying challenges exist. It's about choosing how we respond to them. They talked about how during the COVID-19 pandemic, some people thrived while others struggled. Some even started successful businesses or made significant life changes.
That's a really good point. It's a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, we still have the power to choose our perspective and our response.
And that's where the don't solve, evolve mindset comes in handy. If we can train ourselves to approach challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to our well-being, we're much more likely to navigate those situations successfully.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. It really makes you think about the power of our thoughts and beliefs and how much control we actually have over our experiences.
I think that's a powerful takeaway from this deep dive. While external circumstances will always play a role, how we choose to react and the inner world we cultivate ultimately determine the course of our lives.
It's not just about wishing for a different life. It's about becoming the person who naturally attracts the life we desire. So much of what they talked about seems to come down to self-awareness and taking responsibility for our own growth and well-being.
Absolutely. And they offer very specific tools to help with that, like the daily magic practice.
Right, that daily practice of aligning our feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and actions, our FTBA, with our goals.
It's like anything else we want to get good at.
Yeah.
It takes consistent effort and dedication.
It makes you wonder, what if the key to unlocking our full potential lies not in wishing for a different life, but in becoming the person who naturally attracts the life we desire?
That's certainly something to ponder.
It definitely is. Thanks for diving into these ideas with me today. And for our listeners, if you're ready to explore these concepts further, Mitesh and Indu have a website and offer a variety of resources, including information about their Platinum membership program.
And don't forget that playlist of music they use in the daily magic practice.
Oh, right. We'll be sure to link to that in the show notes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the ideas that fascinate you.